Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we will continue our discussion from the previous class where we are discussing about Rankine cycles. Let me keep the notes open. Same notes on both sides in case we need to refer to some previous pages. So we have discussed about Rankine cycles and we saw that there are four important processes in Rankine cycle. These processes were isentropic compression from 1 to 2, constant pressure heat addition from 2 to 3, isentropic expansion from 3 to 4, and constant pressure heat removal from 4 to 1. Okay. I hope you can see the screen. Can somebody please confirm?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we have noted how to calculate the energy changes in each of these processes. So work input to the pump is H2 minus H1 in terms of the Rankine cycle here. So H2 minus H1, enthalpy at point 2 minus enthalpy at point 1 for the pump. And then for boiler, the heat input is H3 minus H2, H3 minus H2. Turbine, the work output is H3 minus H4, and condenser, the heat rejection is H4 minus H1. So if we know the enthalpy at point 1, 2, 3, and 4, point 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the states, state 1, state 2, state 3, state 4. If we know the enthalpies, then we can calculate all the properties of the cycle. And then we can also calculate the thermal efficiency of the cycle. Thermal efficiency is given in terms of the net work output divided by the heat addition from the high temperature source. Okay. So which is H3 minus H4, turbine work output, minus H2 minus H1. Minus comes because it is work input to the pump. Then H2 divided by H3 minus H2, which is heat addition to the boiler. So we will solve a problem, but before that, let me just give you a quick revision of this two-phase type of processes in case you don't remember, and also what are the important parameters related to this, and then we will see some thermodynamic tables which are known as steam tables and which are useful in obtaining the data at various conditions at various states. So for example, if we know the pressure and temperature at state 1, we can find out the, or state 2 say, for example, we can find out the enthalpy, entropy, specific volume. So all the other properties by using thermodynamic tables. So for the case of water and water vapor system, these tables are known as, these are very famous and are widely used in industry. Nowadays they are also using computerized form. So there are software where you give the data and it gives you the output. But traditionally and even nowadays also steam tables are used, and we should learn how to use steam tables. Very important for engineering applications. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a brief revision of this phase change process in a TS diagram. Okay, phase change process in a TS diagram. So again, I hope you can see the screen. The diagram will not be very accurate, but I hope you get the idea. Okay. So let us consider a case. So this is not directly related to the power plant engineering. Okay. This is the basic thermodynamics, which you must have studied, but just to revise. Let us consider a case where you have a diagram is not very sharp, but anyway, you will understand. where there is a piston cylinder arrangement. Okay. So there is a piston and it is closing some gas or water vapor or water in a cylinder. Okay. So let me just erase this diagram. I want to draw it again. Can you see the whiteboard?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So we have some liquid water here. Okay, liquid water. Again, writing will not be very accurate in this form. And it is enclosed in a piston cylinder arrangement, and the piston has a certain weight over it, okay, which denotes a certain amount of applied pressure. So based on the weight, we can change the pressure. Let us consider that we are applying some amount of pressure, say 2 atmospheric pressure, and the water is at initially at 30 degrees centigrade. Okay. Okay, it's fine. Let me to make you understand better. Let us remove this first. Let us consider that initially the pressure is 1 pressure only. Now is heat. Now it is a certain heat flux. So there is a burner at the bottom with a certain heat flux. Okay. So what will happen? We know that the temperature will start rising in the liquid. Okay. So if we draw a TS diagram in parallel, we have, this is the, say, starting point 1, starting state 1. Okay. We have you can because no to indicate
Sir, your voice is breaking. Can you hear me now? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Internet connection problem was there. Anyway, I will just repeat. So we are just going through the very basics of thermodynamics. Okay, we have a container which is shaped as a cylinder and it is enclosed by a piston. We have some liquid water inside it at a temperature, say 30 degrees centigrade. Arbitrarily, we have taken a temperature and say 1 atmospheric pressure. Pressure can be controlled by putting some weights over the piston. Okay. Right now there are no weights and piston is almost weightless, so it is 30. It is 1 atmospheric pressure. Okay. So this initial state is fixed. I was saying that the initial state is fixed because you know both the temperature and pressure, both are independent properties at this point. And this 30 degree centigrade line and the constant pressure line for 1 atmospheric pressure on the TS diagram will give you the initial state of the water. Okay. So now what happens next? We are heating it from the bottom at a certain with a certain heat flux. Okay. So while the heating is going on, what will happen? Temperature will start increasing. Temperature will increase and the specific volume will not increase much, but it will increase slightly. Okay, it will increase slightly because it is still in water, liquid form, and liquid specific volume does not change much, but it will change slightly. We know that with increasing temperature, the density of water decreases, so specific volume will increase. So say at some point, our piston is now at this location. Okay. This is the new location of the piston. And now the temperature is 100 degrees centigrade. So there is slight expansion in the water. Temperature has increased to 100 degrees centigrade, but still it is water. But what is the significance of 100 degrees centigrade at 1 atmospheric pressure? This is the boiling point for water at 1 atmospheric pressure. Okay, so it has reached its boiling point. So in technical terms, the boiling point is known as the saturation temperature. So the water has reached its saturation temperature corresponding to the pressure of 1 atmosphere. So this can be shown here using this constant pressure process. The heating was occurring at constant pressure, right? You remember that this was occurring at constant pressure. And now we are at 100 degrees centigrade. Okay, we have reached this state. Constant pressure lines are slightly slanted towards the right hand side. So slight increase has occurred in the entropy. Now what will happen further? If you keep on heating, we know that from common sense we know that now the liquid will start getting converted into vapor. Okay. So at some point in between, you will have the piston in this location, say. Temperature still remains 100 degrees centigrade because boiling is going on. Okay. And some part is now, say this part is liquid and rest of it will be vapor. The diagram is getting complicated, but you should be able to understand. So some part is liquid water, rest of the liquid has got converted to vapor. So there is a mixture of liquid and vapor. Vapor has settled at the top, liquid has settled at the bottom. But the overall mixture, yes. Sorry, you are saying something. So overall mixture is still at 100 degrees centigrade and 1 atmospheric pressure. Okay. So 1 atmospheric pressure line now, but the mixture remains at 100 degrees centigrade, but because boiling is going on, the entropy increases. Okay. So the entropy increases, and now we follow a path like this in this direction. So this is the constant pressure line, and at constant temperature we are increasing the entropy by heat addition. And then after some more time, what will happen? Say after some more time, the entire liquid has got converted to vapor phase. So now we have still 100 degrees centigrade, but only vapor. The entire domain is now vapor. Okay, the initial entire liquid has got converted to vapor phase. So we have reached a point like this. Sorry. We have reached a point like this which is still at 100 degrees centigrade and at the same 1 atmospheric pressure, but the entropy has increased significantly because of the heating, and the liquid has got converted to vapor. Okay. And if you keep on heating further, the vapor will keep on expanding, means the specific volume of vapor will keep on expanding, and you will be at a certain strange sound that is coming. Anyway, so you may be at some point like this, piston will go even towards the upper section more, and the temperature will have increased because of further heating. Temperature say 150 degrees. I am just putting some values. Temperature keeps on increasing. So now again what happens? It goes like this. So this is our entire process, what I have just shown in this piston cylinder arrangement, starting from 30 degrees centigrade, say to some temperature 150 degrees, or let us put some high temperature, okay, 300 degrees centigrade, even higher. There is a reason I am putting this high temperature. So this is 400 degrees centigrade. Okay. Scale is not linear. We have reached at high temperature, 400 degrees centigrade. And if we keep on heating, it will keep on increasing. Temperature can go to 500, 600, 700. There is no end to it. Okay. So this entire line is a constant pressure line, and it denotes the different phases. So from this point in the line, from this point to this point is liquid, from this point to this point is vapor, and in between this region there is a mixture of both vapor and liquid. Okay, towards this left hand side you will have, so if I am at a point like this, I will have more liquid and less vapor. Towards the right hand side I will have less liquid and more vapor, and if you just reach this point it will be 100% vapor. Up to this point, is there any doubt, any queries?
No, sir.
Okay. So now, see, we know that the properties, we need two independent properties of a pure material such as water. For water, we need two independent properties to fix its state. Okay, you have read in thermodynamics. And by fixing its state, we mean that we know all the other properties. We can find all the other properties using thermodynamic relations. If we know two properties, two independent properties. Independent is the key word here. So for this water at 30 degrees centigrade, the two independent properties were temperature and pressure. So up to this 100 degrees centigrade, we can consider these two independent properties as temperature and pressure. But once the water starts boiling, okay, at an intermediate point somewhere around here, temperature and pressure are not independent. Okay, so during boiling, for 100 degrees centigrade, the boiling pressure is 1 atmospheric pressure. Okay, or at 1 atmospheric pressure, the boiling temperature is 100 degrees centigrade. So they are related. If the temperature is fixed, pressure automatically is known. Okay, they are not independent anymore during boiling. So we need another independent property to fix the state of the substance. Well, just by knowing the temperature and pressure, you cannot say what is the state of the substance. For the same 100 degrees centigrade and 1 atmospheric pressure, I can be at this point, at this point, at this point, or at this point, anywhere along this line. So one of the important independent properties which is used for these two-phase studies is known as quality. Okay, quality, and it is denoted by X. And you will be encountering it a lot in this course. Quality X. Okay. Quality. What is the meaning of quality? You must have studied, but Let me revise. Can anyone tell what is quality? Quality of steam. This will be also required in your refrigeration course. Thermodynamics, you studied what is quality? Don't remember, huh?
Yes, sir. Like the quality of heat.
So quality is the mass fraction of vapor in the steam. Okay, steam consists of both liquid water and vapor, means at 100 degrees centigrade for this case. So mass fraction of vapor by the entire mass. So let me remove the dots. The dots are not relevant here. Mass of vapor divided by mass of vapor plus mass of liquid. Generally, we use denote these terms. Actually, I will use using G and F. So G denotes vapor. These are standard terms. I am not inventing them. You will see them in stream tables. Okay. Instead of V and L, F denotes the liquid. Okay. So mass of vapor divided by the entire mass. So this is known as quality X. So at this point, what is the quality? Is there a lag? Means my voice is moving faster than the cursor
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
because of internet connection issues. That we cannot do anything about. So I am putting my mouse cursor on this. I hope you can see this.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay. So at this point, what is the quality?
Zero.
Zero.
0. At this point, what is the quality? Just at the end of the horizontal line?
1.
1.
1. Correct. And the quality varies from 0 to 1 along this line. Okay. So at some intermediate point, the quality may be say 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. Okay. So basically, it goes from 0 to 1 and it is an independent property. It is independent of the temperature and pressure. Okay. So by knowing the temperature and quality, we can fix the state of the steam. If somebody says that we have a two-phase mixture at 100 degrees centigrade and with quality 90%, 90% means 0.9, then we can find out where this 0.9 point is along the line. Okay. So this is a very important property, quality, and we can denote all the other properties in terms of this quality. We can calculate all the other properties as we will see later. Okay. So now this is a theoretical experiment that we have performed to see how the state changes with temperature. If we perform the same experiment but at a different pressure, say at a higher pressure, okay, at instead of 1 atmospheric pressure, at 100 atmospheric pressure. Okay. So at 100 atmospheric pressure, however we reach 100 atmospheric pressure, we have put lot of weight on the top of the piston. So initially, what is the position at 30 degrees centigrade at 100 atmospheric pressure in the TS diagram? What will be the position of the state of the liquid water at 30 degrees centigrade at 100 atmospheric pressure? Can somebody say? This is the 30 degrees centigrade line, right? So we are at 30 degrees centigrade, but 100 atmospheric pressure. So the point will be on top of the same point, or on its right side, or on the left side.
The left side of the point.
Left side. Okay, slightly left side. Slightly, the volume is slightly reduced, and so the constant pressure lines goes like this. So this is very exaggerated. Actually, they will be very nearby, but still on the slightly left side. Then we start heating the water at 30 degrees centigrade, but at 100 atmospheric pressure now. Now, if you keep on heating, it again follows a constant pressure line like this. Now it has reached 100 degrees centigrade. So can this water boil at 100 degrees centigrade?
Sir,
No, sir.
It cannot boil, right? Its boiling point is much higher at 100 atmospheric pressure. Boiling point may be more than 300 degrees centigrade. Let me just check what is the boiling point to be consistent. I will show you this also today, and this has been also uploaded in the 300 atmospheric pressure or 100 atmospheric pressure. Boiling point is 311 degree. Okay, so at 100 atmospheric pressure, the boiling point is 311 degree. Okay. So we reach 311 degrees centigrade. So at this point, we have reached the boiling temperature. Okay, we have reached the boiling temperature. Diagram is again not very accurate. It should be slightly on the right of this point. Okay. This point should be slightly on right of this point. So at this point, what will happen? So what is the quality at this point? It is still 0. Now the quality will start increasing. Boiling will start. Okay, at this pressure and temperature. Again, we move like this, and at some point, the boiling ends. Okay. The length of the two-phase region at higher pressure is less. Okay. The length of the, I will come to this also. The length of the two-phase region in the higher pressure is less. Okay. So boiling will stop, and if you keep on heating further, temperature will keep on increasing again. Okay, so again you may reach 400 degrees centigrade after some time. So if you keep on performing this experiment at various pressures, just by changing the weight on the piston, say I start the experiment from 1 atmospheric pressure, then 1.1 atmospheric pressure, 1.2, like this, I keep on doing hundreds of thousands of times. What we will get? We will get the starting point, we will get lines like this, which will denote the starting and ending point of the boiling process for each pressure. Okay. If you join these points, again my diagram is not very accurate. You get a curve like this. Okay, if you join these points, you get a curve like this. This curve is known as the saturation curve. Okay, this is same as what I was showing here for Rankine cycle, but which was drawn more accurately. It will actually look like this instead of this, but you get a inverted U-shaped curve. Okay, like this. This is the saturation curve. So now you can see what the saturation curve implies. So within the saturation curve, there is only the boiling process. So all these lines are constant pressure and constant temperature lines. Okay, you have lines like this. And on the left hand side of the saturation curve, the quality is 0, x is equal to 0. And the right hand side of the saturation curve, the quality is 1. For any other point also, quality is 0, quality is 1 here and here. Okay. So in between you have a mixture of liquid and vapor. On the right hand side, outside the curve, you have vapor, and on the left hand side, you have liquid. Okay. Is this clear to everyone up to this point? What
Yes.
we have discussed?
sir, one
Yes, sir.
Okay. So outside the saturation curve, on the left hand side, we have liquid. Then within the saturation curve, we have liquid plus vapor, and outside the saturation curve, on the right hand side, we have vapor. The liquid on the left hand side is known as subcooled liquid or compressed liquid. Okay, subcooled or compressed liquid. This is known as subcooled liquid. Subcooled or compressed liquid. On the right hand side, this vapor is known as superheated vapor. Sometimes it is also called as rarefied vapor, but let us stick with superheated vapor. And in between, this is known as saturated mixture. Okay, saturated mixture or two-phase region. Diagram has gone out. So outside the saturation curve, pressure and temperature can give us the state of the system. Within the saturation curve, pressure and temperature are not sufficient. You need either pressure or temperature and another property. It can be quality or any other property, as we will see later, but let us consider that quality is the property. Okay. And the constant pressure lines now look like this. So this is a constant pressure line, right? It follows, it increases with temperature, then is horizontal within the saturation curve and then follows a path like this. This is another constant pressure line. So all these are constant pressure lines. Okay. So this is P2, this is P1, where P2 is greater than P1, higher pressure line. So one important thing we should note here is that the difference between the vapor, liquid and the vapor keeps on decreasing as we go to higher and higher pressure. Okay. So at higher pressure, the vapor is at the boiling point, the vapor is more and more compressed. Okay. Compressed means because it is at high pressure, the molecules of water vapor are closer together as compared to at low pressure. Okay. So the vapor molecules are closer together. If you go to a very high pressure, there is no distinction between the vapor and the liquid at all. Okay. So the molecules are so close to each other that the vapor and liquid both behave as in a similar manner. So this happens at a point which is known as the critical point, where there is no distinction, okay, between the vapor and the liquid. This is somewhere around 374 degrees centigrade. Okay. So at this point, if you start boiling, so and around 374 degrees centigrade and 22 MPa pressure. 22 MPa is 220 atmospheric pressure. Okay, 220 atmospheric pressure, 220 times the pressure of normal atmospheric pressure. So if you start the process at this point with this pressure and 30 degrees centigrade, so I start the boiling process at 30 degrees centigrade and 220 atmospheric pressure, 22 MPa pressure. So the boiling will go on like this. So initially the temperature will increase of the liquid and then it will reach a point like this and it will just go ahead like this. Okay. There is no distinct change in quality, okay, or the quality cannot be defined even for this case. Okay. There is a smooth transition that happens for the properties instead of this abrupt transition in the two-phase region. Okay. If you have even higher pressure, say 500 atmospheric pressure, 50 MPa pressure, this process will go like this. So this is known as this fluid, these green lines. These fluids are known as supercritical fluids. Okay. It means that the fluid is beyond the critical point, supercritical fluid. And supercritical fluid is the correct term to use here. Sometimes in the books you will see that for the supercritical fluid they are calling it as liquid if the temperature is less than critical temperature and vapor if the temperature is more than critical temperature, but that is not a correct terminology. Okay, you should not use that. The correct terminology is that this is just a supercritical fluid. You cannot define it as liquid or vapor at any point. There is no distinction or no definition of liquid and vapor. It's the same. It's the same looking mass. Okay, it is not going to change its properties or how it looks like based on the temperature. It will just smoothly transition like the properties will smoothly transition from one state to another state without any visible change for the supercritical fluid. So supercritical fluid is like another state of the substance. So anyway, we will not go into further into the discussion. We are more concerned about the two-phase region, okay, and what happens in the two-phase region. So again, feel free to ask any questions if you don't remember this part or if you have not studied this, because this is very important for your power plant engineering course.
Sir,
Yes.
you told that when we'll increase the pressure from 1 to 100 atmospheric pressure, the point of saturation would be on right, like its entropy would increase than the earlier point at saturation point. Why is that, sir?
It is slightly higher, means at a very high temperature, because when you are increasing the pressure, okay, you are increasing the pressure, the boiling point also increases, means the saturation temperature also increases, and you are at a much higher temperature. Okay, so at this very high temperature, the entropy of the substance is higher. It is not that you are at the same temperature. If I compare a case of say 1 atmospheric pressure and 100 atmospheric pressure at the same temperature, then the entropy is lower. But because your temperature itself is higher, then the temperature of say 100 degrees, so this was 100 degrees centigrade, 100 degrees centigrade, and you are now at 311 degrees centigrade, entropy increases with temperature. So at a higher temperature, you will have higher entropy.
But
That is the reason for
sir,
it. Means
but then sir, entropy is not only like it's not only dependent on temperature. No? Like if we
correct.
see the saturation point, both the sides, like it would be the liquid would be on the same state. No? Like it's just started transitioning from liquid to vapor. So the earlier case at 1 atmospheric pressure, the liquid had more space to convert into gas, and gas could roam around. Whereas when we increase the pressure now, that limitation has been given upon the liquid. So sir, like
Very good
it's
point. Very
random.
good. Okay. So let me explain. Okay. It actually raises couple of very good points, and others also should listen carefully. Okay. It's a very good question. So when you are at this saturation liquid condition, okay, this just I will come back to your question. I forgot something. So the points on this curve on the left hand side, when the quality is zero, the points are known as saturated liquid. Okay, saturated liquid. I will come back to your question. It's a very good question, and it raises couple of very interesting points. And when the quality is 1, means on the right hand side of the curve, the condition is known as saturated vapor. Okay, and in between for x between 0 to 1, it is known as two-phase mixture. Okay, so now coming to your point, say you have saturated liquid at 100 degrees centigrade, it is still liquid, correct? And what you are saying is that for the second case, we have saturated liquid at 100 atmospheric pressure, which is at 311 degrees centigrade. So one case we have 100 degrees centigrade, but still saturated liquid. Okay. Another case we are at 311 degrees centigrade, but still saturated liquid. For the saturated liquid, okay, for the liquid at 311 degrees centigrade, the energy of the molecules, okay, even at higher pressure also. So how does this energy of the molecules manifest? So they are vibrating about on their around their mean position. Okay, so they have a certain kinetic energy even in liquid state, and they are moving around at around their mean position. So if you are at a higher temperature, as what will happen is that the kinetic energy of the molecules will be higher, even at higher pressure. Okay, so at one, if you are at 311 degrees centigrade and 100 atmospheric pressure, means at the boiling point, the specific volume, the density of the liquid, or the specific volume will be slightly larger. I will just show you some values also. Okay, so at 100 kPa, which is 1 atmospheric pressure, melting temperature is boiling temperature is 99.63 and specific volume is 0.001043. Okay, just remember this value 0.001043. Okay. At 100 atmospheric pressure, boiling point is 311 degrees centigrade and the specific volume is 0.001452. So here it is 0.01043, 0.01452. Okay, this is the specific volume. It means that the volume of fluid is higher at higher pressure and temperature at the saturated liquid point. Okay, why this volume is higher? Because the liquid molecules have higher energy, they are moving with larger energy about their mean position. Their movement is larger and their as a result the specific volume is higher for that condition. Okay, so because they are moving with a larger energy, their entropy is higher at that point. Although both are in liquid state, the specific volume at this point is higher and the energy of the liquid molecules is higher at this point. Now your question actually raises a very important point indirectly. Okay, you are saying but the vapor will have higher scope of movement at low pressure, and that is true. Okay, so at 100 degrees centigrade, because the pressure is low, if we are at fully vapor state, okay, at 100 degrees centigrade, if we are at fully vapor state, what will happen? So can we drag it on the left hand side? Yes. So the molecules can move more freely. Okay, because of lower pressure, the molecules can move more freely. The specific volume will be higher, and the entropy is actually higher for lower temperature. Okay, entropy is actually higher for lower temperature, even though it is quality is just 1, x equal to 1. So this is for x equal to 1. VF means x equal to 0. So for this temperature, the specific volume of the vapor is 0.1945. I will come back to these tables anyway. In case you don't understand, I am just putting some values right now. It's a very good question. And now it is 0.018074. 0.018074. 0.18. So you can see that the volume has decreased. So this volume is much higher as compared to this volume. So at saturated vapor condition, the vapor can actually move more freely at lower temperature. Okay, so the entropy of the vapor is actually higher at lower temperature as compared to the entropy of the vapor molecules at higher temperature. Okay, so the entropy difference increases between these 2 points, saturated liquid and saturated vapor, at lower pressure and temperature. And if you go to higher pressure and temperature, the entropy difference actually decreases, and also the specific volume difference also decreases. You can see that the specific volumes are very near to each other. Liquid is 0.1452 and vapor is 0.0. Like still it is lot of differences there, but the difference is much less as compared to this case. This is almost more than 100 times, right? And this is not as much. Okay, so it is 1.1945 or some error is there, I think. I have wrongly taken the value 1.69, right? That's why I'm thinking should be 1000 times more. This is wrongly taken. 1.69. So it was around 1000 times more. More than 1000 times difference was there. And now only around 10 times difference is there between the vapor and the liquid phase. So coming back to your question, we can summarize that for saturated liquid condition, although both the states are fully liquid and at saturated condition means at boiling point, at higher pressure, the water molecules actually move through a larger distance, and because of the high temperature. So the temperature plays the most major role, and as the water molecules moves over larger distance, as larger kinetic energy, the entropy is higher. Okay, and the specific volume is also higher. On the other hand, the opposite is true for the fully vapor condition, where at larger pressures, the movement of the molecules is more restricted. So pressure is the governing factor. Movement of the molecules is more restricted for the vapor. Pressure is the governing factor, and at higher pressure, the movement of the molecules is less, and entropy is less. Okay, although the temperature is higher at the saturated condition. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, any other questions? So, one thing to remember here is that although we draw this in a TS diagram, the saturation curve like this is a very exaggerated diagram, means it is not up to scale. The diagram on the left hand side is almost vertical, and on the right hand side it follows a very curved line. Okay, it is more like the saturation curve looks okay, more like this. But we draw it like I have shown here, not up to scale, because that is the standard practice and it is easier to draw the constant pressure line. If you draw it vertical, it is very difficult to draw the constant pressure line. Okay. So any point which is at a lower pressure as compared to the critical pressure is known as subcritical fluid, or normal, like what you normally know as water and liquid water and vapor, gaseous state. Any point which is at a higher pressure as compared to critical pressure is known as supercritical fluid. Okay, you cannot say whether the supercritical fluid is liquid supercritical or vapor supercritical. There is no distinction, okay. And there is no transition there. And below this pressure, there is a transition from the liquid to the vapor. Okay, and the quality increases from 0 to 1. Now, keeping this in mind, I will just redraw that diagram, TS diagram, because it has become very messy here and confusing. Again, the same thing. This is liquid plus vapor and vapor. Okay. Same diagram. I'm redrawing it because it looks very complicated here. Now, say at a certain constant pressure, this is x equal to 0 and this is x equal to 1. Again, there may be some lag, so you have to bear with that. Okay, means my voice may be running faster than the mouse cursor. This we cannot do anything. This depends on the internet connectivity. Okay, it is internet lag due to poor speed of connection. So this is x equal to 0 point and this is x equal to 1 point. Okay. So this point x equal to 0 point is conventionally denoted by the subscript f. Okay. And this x equal to 1 point is conventionally denoted by the subscript g. So any property, for example, specific volume is denoted by small v. Okay. What is the definition of specific volume? It is the volume per unit mass. Okay. Its unit is meter cube per kg. It is the opposite of density. Okay. Opposite of density. So at the x equal to 0 state, specific volume is denoted by Vf. and at the x equal to 1 state, specific volume is denoted by Vg. Any other property like enthalpy also is denoted by Hf at x equal to 0 and Hg at x equal to 1. Similarly, entropy is denoted by Sf at x equal to 0 and Sg at x equal to 1. So any property which varies with quality is denoted by the subscript F at x equal to 0 and the subscript G at x equal to 1. Okay. And to find the property for a two-phase zone, like in between here, with a certain quality, say here the quality is 0.6, means 60% vapor is there. Okay. So for any quality you can find the properties like this. So for example, V is equal to, so at that point the V is equal to 1 minus x. So 1 minus x is the fraction of liquid into Vf plus x into Vg. X is the fraction of vapor. So fraction of vapor into specific volume of vapor at saturated vapor condition, and fraction of liquid into specific volume of liquid at saturated liquid condition. Similarly, H is equal to 1 minus x Hf plus x Hg, and entropy is equal to 1 minus x Sf plus x Sg. Okay. So these are just linear interpolation. So why these are valid? Because when you are in saturated condition, although we know we are seeing this as a single point here, in the real scenario, what happens is that if you are in a two-phase condition, I'm sorry for the horrible nature of my diagram. If you are in the two-phase condition, the liquid and vapor coexist. Okay, liquid and vapor coexist. If the liquid and vapor coexist, it means that it is a two-phase condition. Okay, so this is 100 degrees centigrade. And the liquid that is present in this two-phase region, so the quality at this point is, say, the quality at this point is x equal to 0.6. Okay, x equal to 0.6. Quality will be determined by seeing the mass fraction of vapor divided by the mass of total, the mass of the vapor divided by the total mass. So this is the quality. Okay. So the liquid that exists at any point in between quality 0 and 1 is always at saturated liquid condition. This is always at saturated liquid condition, and the vapor that exists is always at saturated vapor condition. The state of the liquid and vapor does not change. This is a very important point to understand. Okay. So anywhere during boiling, when the process is going from this point 0 to 1, the state of the liquid and vapor are not changing. The liquid is always at this point and the vapor is always at this point. What is changing is that the fraction of liquid, more and more fraction of liquid is getting converted to vapor. But once it gets converted to vapor, the vapor is always at this point. And whatever liquid is remaining remains at this point. But the average values are shifting from this point towards this point. So in between, at any point, the average value may be here. After some more time, the average value may be here. Then the average value may be here. Ultimately, the entire liquid gets converted to vapor, and the average value becomes equal to the saturated vapor value. Is my last point clear, or is there any confusion regarding the last point? Feel free to ask questions. These are very important. Okay. Without this, you will not be able to solve the problems. So again, I will just repeat this because I'm not able to hear any answers. Okay. For the sake of completeness, I will repeat this. When you have just reached the saturated liquid condition after heating, here when you have just reached the saturated liquid condition, your entire domain is filled with liquid at saturated liquid condition. Means it is at a temperature, pressure, entropy, enthalpy, which correspond to saturated liquid condition. Specific volume, everything correspond to saturated liquid condition. Now if you keep on heating, some of the liquid gets converted to vapor. Okay. the new vapor that forms does not form at an intermediate point. The new vapor always has the property of saturated vapor, Sg, Fg, Sg, Hg, Vg, all these points. Okay, so the vapor that forms, even if there is small amount of vapor, it has the property of saturated vapor. However, the average property, what has happened? However, the average property is very near to the liquid property, because you can take the average based on the quality. So you know that average property is given by 1 minus x into Vf plus x into Vg, or similar relations. So because x is very less amount of vapor is there. So 1 minus x is very large and V is very near to Vf. Okay. Now if you keep on heating more and more liquid gets converted to vapor and x increases. So 1 minus x decreases. So contribution of Vf decreases and contribution of Vg increases. And ultimately when you reach x equal to 1, the entire liquid has got converted to vapor and your property is equal to vapor phase property. But at any point in between, you have a mixture of liquid and vapor, and the liquid is always at saturated liquid condition and the vapor is always at saturated vapor condition. It is only that the average properties are moving from the left to the right hand side. Okay, but they are separate within the two-phase mixture. Any question? I will take a break here, 5 minutes. Any questions?
No,
Think
sir.
about it. Think about any questions. Others can also think about questions. If somebody does not understand, don't feel shy or awkward. You can ask any questions. Okay, and or you can ask through the chat window also in MS Teams. And this needs to be very clear, because without this we will not be able to solve our Rankine cycle problem. So everything related to what I am discussing today needs to be very clear to all of you. These are there in the book. You can also read there in more detail. But I hope that I am able to give a good overview, or a through a quick revision I am able to give you the relevant overview which is required for our course. Okay. We will continue this discussion after 5 minutes break. I will keep this slide open because you can look at it and think about any questions. All right, I am back. We will continue. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can also see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions now from anyone regarding this two-phase mixture, or how the two-phase mixture gets, how the liquid gets converted to vapor, liquid water gets converted to vapor? Other substances also convert similarly, but the temperature and pressure values will be different. But if you consider a liquid ammonia or any other liquid, like any liquid, even say carbon dioxide, so similar things will be there. It means carbon dioxide obviously we see in gaseous form, but at lower temperature and higher pressure we will be able to see the same thing. So all pure substances behave somewhat similar to this. However, we are mostly concerned with water because steam is the working fluid for our power plant engineering cycles, for thermal power plants, and means coal-based and fossil fuel-based thermal power plants, as well as nuclear plants. So steam is the working fluid, and we will be going through the properties of. We are discussing the properties of steam as a result. So the crux of this discussion is that in the two-phase region, if you want to find any property, you need to know the quality or some other property from which you can calculate the quality. Once you know the quality, based on the saturated vapor and saturated liquid and saturated vapor values, okay, saturated liquid and saturated vapor values, you can get the average value of the relevant property. Okay. For example, if I ask somebody to find the specific volume of water and water vapor mixture, means two-phase water, at 100 degrees centigrade, 100 degrees centigrade with a quality of 0.5. What do we need to do? We need to first find out at 100 degrees centigrade for boiling water what is the saturated vapor saturated liquid specific volume and what is the saturated vapor specific volume. Once we find these two, we know that the quality has been given to us is 0.5. So we will use the equation 1 minus 0.5 into Vf plus 0.5 into Vg is equal to V. Now the question that arises is how to get these values of Vf, Vg, Hf, Hg, Sf, Sg. Okay, these values, how to get these values. So let us take a look at how to get these values. Okay, these values we can obtain using thermodynamic tables. For the particular case of steam, this thermodynamic table is known as steam tables. Steam tables are very famous actually, and they can be even bought as books, means extensive steam tables with lot of data points are like small books and can be obtained separately, like steam tables are available at the library also, or at the end of any book, any thermodynamics book like Chengel-Bowles or Sontag, Van Wylen, you will see that steam tables are given in slight brief means brief details, in not very detailed form, but still that is sufficient for our course. Okay. So one similar steam table I have uploaded in the portal. Okay, it is slightly more extensive. It has more data points. If you go to the portal and go to the other class material, you can see that there is a steam table here. Okay. So now I will show you how to get the values, different values of the steam table. What are the different values that are shown in a steam table? Okay. I will not show from steam, but I will directly show you. Okay. So the steam tables are generally divided into multiple sections. Okay. So the first section that is present is for the two-phase region. Okay, is for the two-phase region. So what we can do is can we decrease the size? It's too small, but still will give you some idea. So for this two-phase region, okay, within the curve. So what are the different values that are given? So first column that we see, I hope you can see the table. Can everyone confirm? Can you read the values? If you are on a small screen like mobile, it might be difficult to read the values. If you are on a larger screen, should be okay. Those who are using laptops, can you see read the values?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay, good. So the first column is a temperature. Okay. What does this temperature denote? It denotes the boiling temperature. So technical term for boiling temperature is saturation temperature. Just a second, hold for a second. So technically, the boiling temperature is known as saturation temperature. Okay. So at this point, like these are the boiling temperatures. Okay. So The second line shows you a pressure, okay, Psat. This is the saturation pressure. Saturation means again boiling pressure. So the pressure at which the boiling temperature is these values. Okay, this is the pressure. So for example, our known pressure, known boiling point we know is 100 degrees centigrade, right? Water boiling point. I hope you can see again there may be some lag. 100 degrees centigrade is the boiling point that we everyone know. Okay. So this occurs at a pressure of 101.325 kilopascal, which is 1 atmospheric pressure. Okay. So if you are at a lower pressure, say you are in a hilly region, or you are say yes, if you are in a hilly region, say you are or you have visited some place, say Gangtok or even higher place, somewhere around high altitude, 2000 meter, 3000 meter, some hill station. Okay. So at that point, the pressure will be lower. So the pressure is equal to 80 kilopascal. Okay, I'm just putting some value. So at that point, the boiling temperature will be only 94 degrees centigrade. If you even lower the temperature, means if you have partial vacuum, say the pressure is 10 kilopascal, okay, 0.1 atmospheric pressure, 10 kilopascal, then the boiling temperature, boiling point will be only 46 degrees centigrade. If you are even at a lower pressure, say only 1 kilopascal, means only 0.01 atmospheric pressure, it's almost like vacuum. So then the boiling point is 8 degrees centigrade. Okay. So at that pressure, at normal temperature of 30 degrees centigrade, the water will exist in vapor form. And this keeps on going till you reach the triple point. We will not discuss about triple point, but at a point like 0.6 kilopascal, the boiling pressure is, at boiling pressure of 0.6 kilopascal, the temperature is 0 degrees centigrade. Below this point, you will not get boiling or condensation, you will directly get sublimation, means from conversion from the solid ice to vapor. Okay, like what happens for carbon dioxide. Similar to that, we will get below this pressure. So you won't have any liquid phase, you will have solid to vapor phase transition. Okay. So we are not bothered with that, we are bothered with this part. So first two columns, any questions? So we can keep on increasing the pressure and we see that the boiling temperature will increase. Okay. So if somebody says that our boiling occurs at 300 degrees centigrade, it means that the boiling pressure is 8603.69 kilopascal, okay, which is approximately 86 atmospheric pressure. So if you keep on increasing, you will reach a point, it is not given here fully, 374 degrees centigrade, okay, 374 degrees centigrade, which is very near to the critical point. So at that point, the boiling pressure is around 22 megapascal. Okay. So it's not very, one more point should have been given here, which is missing. I will show you from another table. Okay. But you get the idea. So then there are three columns which gives us the value of the specific volume. Okay. Which specific volume values are given? This VF is given. VF is the specific volume of what? Of the saturated liquid. And Vg is given. Vg is the specific volume of the saturated vapor. And another value is given, VFG. Okay. VFG is nothing but the difference between Vg and Vf. Vg minus Vf. So this Fg subscript denotes differences between the G properties minus the F properties. Okay. So anything, any of the G properties minus any of the F properties. Okay. So why this is there? Because it actually helps in easing the calculation. Okay. I will come back to this stream tables again, but let me just show you once. Okay. So why it is looking blurred? we have derived a relation. We have derived a relation V is equal to 1 minus x. We have not derived, we have defined. Okay, plus x Vg. This can also be written as V is equal to Vf minus x Vf plus x Vg. Or we can write this as V is equal to Vf minus x into Vg minus Vf. So this is equal to V is equal to Vf. Sorry, this is plus x Vfg. Vg minus Vf is by definition this Vfg. Okay. So this is another way of writing the same thing. Why this is written? Because in typical engineering you have to do these calculations lot of times. So it actually saves one step in calculation. Instead of finding 1 minus x, directly we can find what is Vf and Vfg and multiply only one of those by x and find the specific volume. Similarly, all the other properties also can be written as Hf plus x Hfg. Again, Hfg is nothing but Hg minus Hf. S is equal to Sf plus x into Sfg. Okay. So first column is Vf. Volume fraction of liquid, not volume fraction, sorry. Specific volume of liquid at saturated liquid condition. Let us take a look at the values. 0.000995, 0.00. So it's not changing much, it's changing slightly. And you can see the value. So typically it is around, say this value, 0.001. Okay, specific volume 0.001 means what is the density? What is the density of this?
1,000.
1,000 kg.
It's 1000 because it's only 1 by Vf. Okay, density is 1 by Vf. So of this liquid is 1000, which we know the density of water is 1000 kg per meter cube. Right, that is the density that we know. So it is around that point. Okay, so our known value. So increasing slightly and only towards the very high temperatures. So even at say 150 degrees centigrade, it's around 0.001 only. Okay, not change much, just 0.001. But when you go to very high temperatures, suddenly it starts changing drastically. Still at 200 degrees centigrade, it is 0.001, and some values have changed. But now you go to 300.0014, it has started increasing. Okay, 350.0016, then it will rapidly start increasing, 0.0018, and this final value is not given here. So do I have the thermodynamic tables? Content preparation progress. What is this? Same table, but now from another source. Okay. Same table from another source. So similarly, only you will find the values, but at more higher intervals. Here the interval was 2 degrees centigrade because it's a larger table. The same thing now you see at 5 degree centigrade intervals, but similar to this saturated pressure, such VF saturated volume. There is slight discrepancy in the values because they are calculated in slightly different ways. but as long as we use a single table, the differences will be correct. Okay, the reference points are different, so the values may be slightly different. So at 370 degree, so according to this data, their critical point is 373.95. At this point, the saturated vapor has a saturated liquid has a specific volume of, let me see, 0.003106. Okay, and the second column, sorry again, shows the saturated vapor values. Okay, saturated vapor specific volumes. And what happens to the saturated vapor specific volumes? Initially at low pressure and temperature, the saturated vapor specific volume is very large. As you keep on increasing the pressure, the saturated vapor pressure specific volume keeps on decreasing. Okay, initially you can see it's very, very large. Okay, it keeps on decreasing, 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 and at the critical point, the vapor and the liquid have the same specific volume. Okay, vapor and the liquid have the same specific volume. It is exactly same because there is no distinction between vapor and liquid. I will come back to our original table because we will be using this table, and reference points are slightly different, so values are slightly different. But if you are consistent with the table, your answers will be correct. Means you have to just use one. You cannot take one value from one table and another value from another table. For a single problem, you have to take all the values from the same table. Then your calculations will be correct. Okay. So these are the first two columns. Then we also have the VFG, which is just the difference between VG and VF. Okay, VFG. Similarly, we have the enthalpy values. Enthalpy keeps on increasing, HF, and Hg values, enthalpy of saturated vapor, and HFG. Internal energy also is given, UF, UG, and UFG, and entropy is given, SF, SG, and SFG. Entropy, so units are also very important. Please note the units. Enthalpy and internal energy are kilojoule per kg, and entropy is kilojoule per kg Kelvin. Okay. So as I was discussing previously in answer to one of your questions, at 100 Kelvin, 100 degrees centigrade, sorry, the entropy of liquid is 1.3 and vapor is 7.35. Why is that? So 1.3 and 7.35. Remember these values, 1.3, 7.35. At around 10 kPa, okay, this is 3.3 and 5.6. Okay, so the liquid saturated liquid entropy is higher, but the saturated vapor entropy is lower. Instead of 7.5, it is now 5.6, and instead of 1 point something, it is now 3.3. Okay, so these has changed. Accordingly, the differences also keep on decreasing. So you will see that VFG value keeps on decreasing, HFG value keeps on decreasing, all the difference values keeps on decreasing. Okay. So now if somebody gives you the temperature and quality at any point, you should be able to find out the value of the other properties from the property table. Or if somebody says gives you the pressure and quality is between 0 and 1, means in the two-phase region, you should be able to find out the values. Okay. Let us take a look at a very simple example. Like we want to find the value what is happening. Okay, V at say 300 degrees centigrade, quality of 0.5. Okay, so if we want to find the value of specific volume at 300 or density at 300 degrees centigrade, so and quality 0.5, what do we need to do? First, we have to go to the table and find out the row corresponding to 300 degrees centigrade. So we will go to the row corresponding to 300 degrees centigrade. Anyway, these things will be again clear when we solve the problem. I think it may not be possible today, or we will see. So this is the row corresponding to 300 degrees centigrade. Okay. So at 300 degrees centigrade, what is the value of VF? It is 0.001405. 0.001405 meter cube per kg. Units are important. What is the value of Vg from the table? Again, you can see Vg is 0.021669. 0.021669. Meter cube per kg. So now what will be the specific volume? V is equal to 1 minus x Vf plus x into Vg. So we know that x is 0.5, so you can replace x and then replace the value of Vf and Vg, and you will be able to get the correct answer. Okay, I'm not doing the calculation, but you should be able to do. So like this we can find. So somebody wants you to find the enthalpy at 300 degrees centigrade, quality of 0.5. Again, you can find the value of HF for 300 degrees centigrade. HF is 1341 and Hg is 2769. So accordingly, you can find what is H. Okay. Any questions up to this point? You should be very familiar on how to use the steam tables. Even in the exams also, if there are problems, steam tables will be provided to you and you have to solve the problems based on the steam tables. Because otherwise you cannot get the data. You cannot use their ideal gas laws and any laws like that, because those are too inaccurate. Even for the vapor region also, we cannot use ideal gas laws. So we have to use thermodynamic tables which are much more accurate. Otherwise your calculation will not be correct. Okay, I guess no questions is there. So this is uploaded in the Teams portal. Please go through it and try to understand all the things. Okay. So sometimes you will find some steam tables where this Vf and Vg are given and Vfg is not given. So that is no issue, because Vfg is Vf minus Vg. Similarly, Hf and Hg are given and Hfg is not given. Again, Hfg is just Hf minus Hg. It is redundant. It is just for easing the calculation. These values are given. Sometimes these internal energy values are not given. U values are not given at all. So if internal energy is not given, how will you find the internal energy? U is equal to H minus PV. Okay. So H values are anyway given. P also you know from here, and V also you can find from here. So using those values you can find a U. So U is also not required if you know H and PV. Okay. And anyway, in our steady flow problems, we don't use these values of, we don't need these values of internal energy. Okay. So as a result, we only need the enthalpy values and entropy values. So for us, it is not any concern. But in case you are curious how U and UFUG are calculated, these are from this HFHG and HFG values. Okay. And entropy values also we will need. So entropy, again, you can just take a look from the table, SFSG and SFG. Okay. Now, one important point that I was stating previously, if you interchange tables, you take one value from one table, you take another value from another table, your calculations may become wrong. Why? Because these tables are generated with a certain reference point. Okay. For example, if you take a look at this enthalpy values, HF, HG, HFG. Okay. So there is no, you cannot say at which point HF should be 0. Okay. It is arbitrarily taken. Some point is arbitrarily taken at which HF is 0. For example, it may be taken that HF is 0 at 0 degrees centigrade, or HF is 0 as minus 40 degrees centigrade, or HF is 0 at absolute 0. Similarly, for entropy, somebody may take entropy to be 0 at 0 degrees centigrade. Somebody may take entropy to be 0 at minus 40 degrees centigrade. Somebody may take entropy to be 0 at absolute 0. Okay. So all these values are relative. Okay. So relative to that 0 value, these values are given. Okay. So what it means is that if you calculate the difference between any two values, the difference will remain consistent, but the absolute values will vary from table to table. So if I look at another table, so say this table has a value of has a reference of point of minus 40 degrees centigrade for the zero values. Another table has 0 degrees centigrade as the reference point, means the zero values are there. So our zero values, or at 0 degrees centigrade, the values will be different for different tables. And similarly, at 100 degrees centigrade, the values will be different for different tables. But the difference in values between the 100 degrees centigrade and 0 degrees centigrade values will always be same. Okay, because the differences, so say H minus H ref, H1 minus H reference minus H2 minus H reference. So any difference, this H reference will get cancelled and you will be left with H1 minus H2. So whatever is the reference point does not matter for differences. Your differences will always be correct. So if we consistently just take the values from a single table for a problem, our difference will be correct. If your friend uses another table from another book, his or her values will also be correct. Although the actual values, absolute values may be different, the differences will be correct. And in our problems, we will be only dealing with differences, not actual values. Okay, so this is true for enthalpy, entropy, this type of value. Specific volume is a physical value. It should not change much between different tables. Slight change may be there due to how they are calculated, but they will not change because they are not taken from any reference value. Okay, they are directly calculated based on density. So specific volume we can directly use. Okay. Is this point clear to anyone, to everyone? Very important point. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now let us take a look at what is beyond this table. Okay. Let us take a look at what is beyond this table. So temperature from 0 to, we are increasing the temperature up to near the critical point. So what we will see is that there is another table exactly of similar nature, but the first column is pressure and second column is temperature, and all the other values, all the other columns are same: Vf, Vg, Vfg, Hf, Hg, Hfg, then the internal energies and entropy. Okay. So this table and the first table are same. Only difference is that here it is given in terms of pressure. So why? What is the difference in this and this? It is that sometimes in the problems you are given the temperature values and then you have to find the pressure and other values. In that cases, you can directly look up this table. Say you are given the temperature, saturation temperature is 300 degrees centigrade. So I can directly look at the 300 degrees centigrade value and find out all the values corresponding to it. So in some cases, instead of temperature, pressure is given. So it is given the saturation pressure is 100 kPa. So if I know that saturation pressure is 100 kPa, I will just look up this table and find out what is the boiling temperature and then all the other values. Okay. So if I am given that the saturation pressure is 10,000 kPa, okay, 10,000 kPa. So I can look up this table based on the pressure, find out the boiling temperature and all the other values. All the other values can be similarly found. So if this table was not given to you, then also you could have found the values, all the values for a given pressure of 10,000. So what would have you done? You would have gone to the temperature table, okay, and you would have found what is the corresponding values to 10,000 pressure. Okay, so this is the nearest value to 10,000 pressure, but this is not exactly equal to 10,000 pressure. Okay, this is another near value to 10,000 pressure on the other side. So now in that case, you should have interpolated between these two values. Okay, between this value and this value, you would have to do linear interpolation. Okay, so we know that at this 10,164 the temperature is 312 and at 9,890 the temperature is 310. So what will be the temperature at 10,000 kPa? And you would have found something like 311 point something, okay, or 311. Similarly, you should have interpolated the specific volume values, any other values you should have interpolated. So instead of this interpolation, The second table saves us time because directly in terms of pressure the values are given, which are nicely rounded values. Okay. So depending on whether temperature and pressure is present, you can take a look at the appropriate table. All the values should be consistent, but if only one table is given, you might have to do interpolation. That's why both the tables are given. Okay, both are interchangeable, so both have similar values. Okay, it's not very different. So for example, 100 kPa pressure, temperature is 99.63 and specific volume is 1.69. So you go to the temperature table, 99.63. Again, there may be lag here. Okay. There is no 99.60, but we have 100, and the pressure is slightly larger than 100, so it is 101.325. Okay, and specific volume is 1.673 instead of 1.69. The slight difference is there because of the slight difference in value. So these two are the known as the saturated pressure, saturation temperature. First table is known as saturation temperature table. Second table is known as saturation pressure table. Okay, these two are together known as saturation tables, saturation steam tables. Again, the pressure can go to very high value, and I guess it will go to 22 megapascal, just below the critical point. Okay, the last values are not very accurate in this table, but we will not be bothered with that. Then there is another set of table. Okay, any question regarding the saturation tables? Oh, wrong one.
No, sir.
So the saturation tables are only valid for the saturation region. Whatever is there beyond inside the saturation region. Now we will, if we want to find the values on the right hand side. Okay, if we want to find the values on the right hand side, what is the right hand side called? It is known as superheated region. Okay, so we have to look up another table which is for the superheated table. Why this different table is required? Can anybody say what is the why this different table is required? What is the difference between saturation region and superheated region in terms of property values? Like how to find the properties? In the saturation region, if I give you the temperature and pressure, will you be able to find the property within the saturation region?
Sir, only temperature or pressure is required to find the other properties.
Only temperature and pressure will you find able to find the actual property? Say, going back to the problem, I want to find the property V at 300 degrees centigrade. So only if I give 300 degrees centigrade, can you find V, or something else was required? Quality was
Sir,
required, right?
yes, sir, quality is required.
So extra information is required. It need not be quality. Means I can also give you, instead of quality, I can give you enthalpy also. So say enthalpy is given instead of quality. Then what will you do if enthalpy is given as 2000 kilojoule per kg and quality is not given? What will you do? Two properties are given, two independent properties: 300 degrees centigrade temperature and enthalpy. What will be our approach in that case? Let us try to do that problem. We have two independent properties, 300 degrees centigrade, but quality is not given. Enthalpy is given to us, 2000 kilojoule per kg. Come on, give some answers. Based on our discussion today.
Sir, like we have enthalpy given and we would have HF and Hg, so we'll calculate
Correct.
X.
We can calculate X, right? So let us go to 300 degrees centigrade. 300 degrees centigrade. What is HF? 1341.96 and Hg is 2769.34. So HF is 1341 and Hg is 2764 or something like that. I don't know the exact values. You can take a look again. So because you know HF and Hg and you know that H is equal to 1 minus X HF plus X Hg. H is given to you. HF and Hg we have looked at the table. You can find out what is quality. Once you find what is the quality, you can then find the specific volume. Is this clear? Now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So any other properties is given, you can again find the quality also. Like it is not that only quality needs to be given. But what I mean to say when I was discussing here is that within the two-phase region, you cannot have just temperature and pressure. One other property is required. Okay, one extensive property is required to find the value, okay, or state. So only temperature, if only temperature and pressure is given, you will not be able to find the state. You cannot say whether this is this point or this point or this point. You need either quality or enthalpy or specific volume, some other property. If specific volume is given, then also you can find the state. Using Vf and Vg, you can find out what is X, right? So one extra property is required. But outside this region, temperature and pressure are independent. So only if temperature and pressure are given, you can find the property. Okay. So outside this region, in the two-phase region, in the superheated region, if only temperature and pressure are given, you can find the property because temperature and pressure are independent. So the curve goes like this, right? So if I give you the temperature, at the same temperature, there can be different pressures. So there can be another constant pressure line like this, another constant pressure line like this. So only giving the temperature and pressure does not, and there is no definition of quality here. If I give you the temperature and pressure both, say this temperature and some pressure, then you locate this point. If the pressure is different at the same temperature, the point is different. If the pressure is even lower, then the point is different. So you need to know both temperature and pressure outside this point to find the state. Okay. So as a result, the tables also look different, okay, from the saturated tables. So let us take a look at the tables. These are known as superheated tables. Please take a look after this class or whenever you are studying in the evening. Go through these tables because I have uploaded this and you need to be very familiar with these tables. In the next class, we will solve a problem based on this. Okay, and you should be able to solve the problem. So superheated table. Okay. So superheated table is given in a different way. It is given in terms of pressure, and for each pressure different temperatures are given. Okay, why for each pressure different temperatures are given? Because we know that temperature and pressure is independent. So for this pressure we can have different temperature values. Okay, and for each temperature value our properties will be different: enthalpy, specific volume, entropy. So for example, for this temperature this is the specific volume. For this temperature, this is the specific volume. You can see the specific volume is changing. Okay, the S is different, S1, S2. So similarly, for another pressure, if you know the temperature, you can find the specific entropy and other things. Okay, so sorry. First pressure given is P equal to 0.01 MPa. Again, for different tables, different pressures can be given. This is more extensive table, so a lot of pressures are given. Okay, and you can see that first entry is 45.84 degrees centigrade. Okay, why this is the first entry? Can anyone say? For P is equal to 0.01 MPa, why the first entry temperature entry is 45.84? What does this first entry signify?
Sir, it is the saturated vapor.
Correct. It is the saturated vapor condition. Just at this point, okay, just at the on the line. Now this below this temperature we will not have superheated vapor, so there cannot be any superheated table below this temperature. Only above this temperature for that pressure we can have superheated vapor, right? So the table starts from the saturated state. Okay, 45.84, 14.6711. H is given, U is given, and S is given. So this is one table. Okay, you can see that there is no separate SF, SG because there is no concept of saturated vapor or saturated liquid at this point. For the superheated condition, you have a single value of enthalpy, single entropy, single internal energy, and a single specific volume. Okay. Similarly, at the same pressure but higher temperature, you get more and more, higher and higher enthalpy, entropy, things like that. And this goes to a certain very high value. Okay, so for example, if I go to 600 degrees centigrade for 0.01 MPa pressure, we see that specific volume is this much, enthalpy is this. All are very high values. Okay, values actually increase. So more and more you go to higher temperature, more and more it will behave like ideal gas. More and more this EV is equal to RT type of relation. Although it will not exactly be satisfied. So higher you go, further you are moving away from the saturated curve. Okay, higher you go further. So for example, for this case, at very high temperature, say 1400 degrees centigrade, 1300 degrees, you are at some point like this. This is very far away from the saturated curve. So its behavior is more gas-like. And when you are very near to the saturated curve, the behavior is not very gas-like. Okay. So when we consider this oxygen, nitrogen as gases, it means that they are very, very, very far away from their saturated condition, even from their critical points. They are very far away from their critical points. Okay. Very high temperatures compared to their critical points. So similarly, for another pressure, you again have the same tables, but now the temperature, initial temperature is higher because this is the boiling point. Okay. Then 0.1 atmospheric, 0.1 MPa pressure, which is 1 atmospheric pressure. Boiling point is 99.63, and then these are the specific volumes and all these things, and you can keep on increasing the temperature to find. So same table for different pressures are there. Okay, all are in the superheated region. We will take a look at another table. So say P is equal to 10 MPa. We found that from a saturated condition that the temperature at that pressure, saturation temperature is 311 degrees centigrade. Okay. So at that point, these were the specific volumes. But if you keep on increasing the temperature, again you go to higher and higher values, and like you can find any value if you know the temperature and pressure. So the point is that now if I ask you to find the value of V at 5 MPa pressure, V at 5 MPa, 400 degrees centigrade, what will you do? You will have to go to the table. Which table? So first we know that 400 degrees centigrade means it is all beyond the critical point. So we will go to the superheated table. Okay. And 5 MPa pressure is given. So we will go to the 5 MPa pressure table. Okay. This is the 5 MPa pressure table. And the temperature given is 400 degrees centigrade. So 400 degrees centigrade, 5 MPa pressure. This is 400 degrees centigrade corresponding to 5 MPa. So let us take a look at the value. So this is the specific volume, 0.0578. Similarly, you can find the enthalpy, in internal energy and entropy, so 0.0578 directly from the table. Now, if I want you to find V at 10 MPa and 520 degrees centigrade, what will you do? Again, go to the table. Okay, go to the table, 10 MPa table now. Okay, 520 degrees centigrade, 10 MPa. So 10 MPa table. This is the 10 MPa table, but there is no 520 degrees centigrade. So what will you do in that case? How will you find the specific volume? Answers?
You can interpolate between.
You have to interpolate linearly. Okay. So you know the value at 500 degrees centigrade, the specific volume, and 550 degree, you know the specific volume. Now you can linearly interpolate and find out what is the value at 520. Okay. So the difference between this and this similar is means the temperature and this assuming that the temperature and specific volume linearly varies. You can find out at 520 what should be the specific volume by linear interpolation. You can do it on your own. You just find out the value after the class or during the evening. What should be the specific volume at 520 degrees centigrade for 10 MPa pressure? Okay, you have the class notes. Sorry, you have this table. You can find this out. So like this, we have to find for the superheated region. Now there is another table. We will finish this class quickly, which is for the compressed liquid. Compressed liquid is which part? The subcooled liquid. Okay. Sorry, not this one. For this region. Okay. There is another table for this region, but in many books, this table is not there. Okay. This is not very important, so this table is not there. And we will also not be using this table. Okay. The subcooled region table. What we will be doing instead is that for the subcooled region, temperature is the strong indicator of different properties. Okay. So for any point in the subcooled region, so you want to know the enthalpy at this point. Okay. At any pressure and temperature. So we'll take the corresponding Hg value for that case. Okay. Because this does not change much. We will take the corresponding Hg value for the same temperature. Okay. So if somebody asks you to find the H value at 10 MPa pressure and say 200 degrees centigrade. Okay. So this is a subcooled region because at 10 MPa we know that the boiling temperature is 311. Okay. So 200 degrees centigrade means on the constant pressure line of 10 MPa, you are below 311. So you are somewhere around here. Okay. I will use another color. You are somewhere around here, which is a subcooled region. So how to take this? Instead of this, we will approximate this as H is almost equal to HF at 200 degrees centigrade. Okay, so we will take this value. So HF at 200 degrees centigrade. So we will go to the table, find out what is the HF at 200 degrees centigrade. This is what is typically done for engineering calculation. It induces slight error, but it is much easier to calculate. Okay. And there is not much variation. So HF is 852.082. Okay. 852.082 kilojoule at the same temperature, not at same pressure. Okay, your enthalpy is a strong function of temperature, so you have to take at the same temperature, but you will take at HF. Although the HF was at different pressure. What was the pressure? Instead of 10 MPa, the actual pressure was quite different. Actual pressure was 1.55 MPa, but this value will not change much. 852. It will change slightly, but this is the common practice. Okay. Because in many books, these compressed liquid tables are not given at all. Okay. So you can see here, for this case, luckily the compressed liquid table was available and it is given to us. We can see the value at 10 MPa 200 degrees centigrade. The enthalpy is 855.56. Okay. 855.56. So it is not much different. Less than 1%. Okay. Even less than 0.5%. This is the actual value based on the compressed liquid table. This is our approximated value. So we will always take this approximation because these compressed liquid tables are not given in many cases. So we need now two types of table. One is the superheated table. Second is the saturated table. And within the saturated table, you have again two different format of the same table. One is in terms of round values of temperature. One is in terms of round values of pressure. Otherwise, the tables are same. It is only that one is in terms of round values of temperature, another is in terms of round values of pressure. Okay. We will continue this discussion in the next class, next week, and we will also solve the problem that I was saying, and then all these discussions will become relevant to you guys. Before that, please go through the steam tables and I will upload this recorded lecture. Okay, all this recorded lecture before that class. Go through this recorded lecture again, just to check whether you understand these points. Okay, these are not there in the notes, so just to see whether you understand these points, and try to find out a few values at different pressure and temperature and quality, so that you can get a feel of how to look up the steam tables. Steam tables, use of steam tables is an integral part of this course. So you should be very familiar with steam table. Try to find some arbitrary values, like what will be the entropy at 5 MPa pressure and 200 degrees centigrade. So some values like this you try to find out. Okay, before the next class. And if you have, so we have run out of time today. So if you have any questions, please ask me in the next class. Okay, and I will answer these questions in the next class. You go through it, then you will get more questions. Then it will be better. You can get a better understanding of the topic also, and you can ask more relevant questions also. So we'll stop this class at this point.